In another life, I swear I was probably Hispanic, but that's not why we're here. Let's have a quick little conversation. I was just on um her username used to be the legendary OG, but it's now, I believe it's like Yaslam Erica or something like that. But I was just on her live and she was talking about black cat energy, and this gingered me. I was gonna say triggered, but I'm gonna use the word gingered. Triggered me, gingered me to talk a little bit about boundaries. As a black woman, boundaries, and I believe I made a short about this a couple of days ago, so go and watch that. It is so important for us to stick up for ourselves. That was what I said in my short from the other day. But it's so important to stick up for ourselves in the sense of having boundaries. And we always talk about boundaries this, boundaries that, but like honestly, think of it this way. You are a soul in your body. This is your house. Your soul, your body is your house. Your soul is the occupant of the house. You are responsible for protecting your house by any means necessary. Point blank in the period. Having boundaries is going to protect you from being hurt, from being manipulated, protects your peace, all the above. I want to specifically talk about boundaries in the sense of having boundaries, whether it's at work, in relationships, in friendships, with even family members, acquaintances, etc. It's very important to make your boundaries clear to people. Make your boundaries clear to people from the beginning, because then you give them the choice to either um, uphold those boundaries, to accept those boundaries, or they can cross them. But they also will understand that if those boundaries are crossed, I'm out. I will let a mother effer know from the beginning. This is what I'll accept. This is what I won't accept. This is what I expect. This is what I don't expect. These are the consequences of breaking those boundaries. If I let you know that from the beginning, that's the first time. Let's say they trip up, they forget. Subconsciously, somehow they end up crossing the boundary. That's the second time. We'll have a conversation about it. I realize that this, and this. You remember I told you I'm not comfortable with this, and this, or I don't like this, and this. So how are we going to improve? Okay. Then, somehow, some way, they do it again. You then again address the issue. That's 3 times. The first time you laid the boundary, first time you laid the boundary. Second time they broke the boundary, you had a conversation. Third time was the second time they broke the boundary, you had a conversation. There will be no fourth time. The fourth time that there's a conversation about this boundary, there is no conversation. You exit stage left. Whether that means you block the person, whether that means you're no longer in contact with the person, whether that means you no longer entertain the person, that's it. Because we have to be very, 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 very mindful of people who intentionally, or even, I don't even want to say intentionally, they could even be unintentionally breaking your boundaries. But that's not my problem. I'm not going to sit here and teach you how to treat me over and over and over again. Clearly, there's a fundamental issue with you that has nothing to do with me. So I'm going to exit stage left and go be with someone, or go be where I'm appreciated. Because I'm not playing these type of nut ass games. You want to play nut ass games? That's up to you and you. And you can deal with that on your own time. And folk will find it. Um, Erica said something like, people get upset when you have your boundaries. Hi, everybody. People get upset when you have your. Make sure you click the like button so we can get more people on here. I'm only going to be on here for like 10 more minutes, but I just have to get this off my chest. People will be upset when you have, or when you notice something about them. You notice something wrong about them. Thank you for the likes. When you notice something about them and you decide not to deal with it. I'm not here to save you. I'm not Jesus Christ. Matter of fact, Jesus died for our sins. Jesus came on this earth to save us all, and you're choosing not to live in that freedom. You would rather sit in your own sin and live in the consequences of that sin. I'm not playing that game. If I see garbage on the side of the road, I see garbage on the side of the road, I'm not gonna help clean it up. I'm gonna step over it or go around it and keep going my way. It's not my responsibility to what's the word? To clean up your mess. It's not my responsibility to change your diaper. When you have the tools to clean up your own mess, you have the tools to clean up your own diaper. That is also boundaries too, energetic boundaries, especially as black women, because people always say black women are magical and da 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 da. We are magical. We can do a lot of things. We are very transformative beings. We're very healing. But we have to be very careful who we allow to indulge in that healing energy. Because you have to be very careful who you allow to be in that healing energy, because not everybody is a benefit of it. Some more time, these people that they are stuck in their own rut, they're stuck in their own sin, whatever, they themselves need to get themselves out of that. It's not up to us to help them. They need to learn how to get themselves out of that. But people will rather you sit around and coddle them and hold them and babysit them and nurse them back to health. I'm not in the business of doing that. I'm not in the business of doing that. I'm not going to sit here and keep watching you make silly decisions, which is the reason why your life is the way that it is. If I could bring myself out of the tough situations that I have been, you can too. It's not that's I'm not the babysitter. I think you should maybe call your mom. Like, jokes aside, I'm not wasting my energy on people who they won't even know what to do with that energy. They just want someone to they want that nurturing feel. Oh, it's gonna be okay. We are adults. You need to get off your bum and wake up and do better for yourself and want better for yourself. I'm not gonna sit here and keep trying to push you into that though. So back to the topic about that's also a boundary too. To be able to know and recognize the way that people are moving, the way that people are conducting their lives, and decide not to deal with it. I don't have to deal with it. Why should I have to deal with you in your bad situation? Why should I have to deal with you with all the like? No, I don't have to deal with that. I'm going to remove myself from the situation so that I can flourish, because if I'm around you and your life is in shambles, birds of a feather flock together. Soon enough, your shamble of a life is gonna start trickling over to me, and I don't need that type of energy around me. So yeah, um, leave people where they're struggling at sometimes. If especially if you're not graced or taxed with bringing them out of that situation, especially if they're not willing to do the work, leave them right where you found them. Because there is no point of pouring so much into a vessel. It's like you're pouring into a vessel that the bottom of the let's say it's like a glass, like a drinking glass. The bottom of the glass is shattered. The more you pour, it's just pouring straight on the floor. It's not even being contained in the vessel. So what's the point of that? Tell me. There's no point in that. You're wasting your energy. Have the boundaries within yourself for yourself that you're not going to invest in something that doesn't have a return on investment. People can call you selfish, they can call you rude, they can call you stuck up. It don't matter. They call us that even when we do try to help them. So if we're not trying to help them and they're calling us selfish and rude, I don't care. People will want to benefit from your energy without having to pour anything back, without having to give anything back to you, without having to do any of the work. That is not the way we're moving. That is not what we're going to do. If we set the boundaries within ourselves and those boundaries are broken, exit stage left. Let somebody else deal with it. And it's funny because I feel a lot of the times if you set boundaries in the beginning, right, you keep allowing that person to cross your boundaries, they're only going to keep doing it, and it's only going to get bigger and worse and worse. It's only going to get bigger, the type of boundaries that they try to cross, because if they realize in the beginning they can cross little boundaries of yours and you don't do anything, you forgive them, you're like, oh, it's okay, they're going to keep doing it and it's going to get worse and worse, and you can't even blame them for that because you're the one that allowed them to cross your boundaries in the first place. I had a situation like that a few months ago where I couldn't even necessarily blame the person for the reason why they're crossing my boundaries because I allowed it. I allowed it. Until I stopped allowing it, I could not blame the person. It's not the person's fault. It's my fault because I should have stood on business about myself. I should have stood on business about myself. I should have stood on business about my boundaries. That this is not what I'm going to accept, and if you keep doing this, I'm not going to be around anymore. Point blank in the period. People think it's a joke when you lay boundaries until you literally remove yourself from the situation, and then they're surprised. Why are you surprised? Because those are the people that live or interact around a lot of enablers who will just enable their behavior. I'm not an enabler in any way, shape, or form. Any shape of the word. I'm not gonna enable shit. Matter of fact, if you try that over here, matter of fact, I'm gonna enable myself to get out of your life so that you can continue to deal with people that are gonna enable that behavior. Because clearly you like that lifestyle, you like the way you're living, and you want to stay in that. So stay in that. But I'm not gonna be around to deal with it. Point blank in the period. So more of the story, this was just a quick live. I just had to get this off my chest. Boundaries are very important in all friendships, relationships. We set the standard, us, ourselves, set the standard of how people treat us. Simple. The first time they cross the boundary, we let them know, I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. Don't do it again. If they keep doing it, then you have to just remove yourself completely. Remove yourself completely. Because there's no reason why you should be around that type of behavior when you've already expressed that you're not comfortable with this, or you don't like this, or this is how you're moving. So what did we learn today, class? And it's easier said than done. I understand that. But I honestly believe stuff like this, it's like a muscle. You have to keep doing it. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. Think of it as the same way a parent protects their child. That is the same way you need to protect yourself. Keep yourself from harm's way. Keep yourself from getting hurt. Keep yourself from all of those things through your boundaries, not out of fear, but out of the abundance of love for yourself. I literally, like, sometimes will have certain situations happen to me or certain people behaving a certain way around me, and I'm like, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. And I'll just remove myself from the situation. So yeah, y'all. Real quick live. Subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, and we'll talk again. Peace out. Bye.